Hey guys, BringYourFriends here. Today I wanted to make a video showcasing a build that I found was pretty effective in New World concerning the weapons, the musket and the sword and shield. So basically when I made a musket build, I really wanted to make a trap build, but I wasn't able to, at first it wasn't very effective just because I couldn't find a workaround for it for the following reasons. So traps right now have a lot of counterplay, so much so to where if you weren't doing it the way I'm doing it right now, it would almost be just completely unviable for a couple reasons. So first off, when you lay a trap, your enemy can see it, and if they wanted to, they can simply auto attack it and negate the trap. And the third way that they can avoid the trap is by simply dodging over it, because dodge roll is essentially an iframe in this game. So knowing all those things, how do you get it to where you can actually get off a trap in a real PvP scenario or duel, etc. So after a lot of testing, I found that it can work on at least two weapons that I've tested so far, one being rapier and one being sword and shield. Sword and shield is easier in that regard just because of the fact that in order to cast shield rush, there's really no like with rapier, for example, it's like an extra step just because of the fact that when you use riposte, it requires the enemy to attack you during that duration, and then you're rewarded with stunning them for 1.5 seconds. Obviously, you can make that into 2 seconds if you spec for it, but I digress. So, going back to Sword and Shield, with Shield Bash, it's a 2-second stun in which you can spec to 3 seconds, and there's no like parameter that needs to be met. Like with riposte, you just hit shield bash. If they're near you, you get it off, and you can just go into your rotation. So basically, the rest of the build in musket, I'm only level 11 so far, and level 26. So you take in trap, obviously, with increased damage, which increases damage by 20% for 3 seconds. You take hustle just because it's the only way to get to that part of the tree. Sticky bomb's garbage, stopping power is alright, but not useful in this specific build. And then scent of blood is very important. So scent of blood regen 100% of weapon damage done as health when dealing damage to trap targets. So essentially every single point of damage you're going to be leeching back as health if someone is in your trap. Like this equates for like a huge part of your self-sustain. It can literally swing fights if you land traps in duels, or anywhere for that matter. Tactical reload is also really important just because every time you dodge, every 6 seconds, it's literally just instant burst. And then kick them while they're down, deal 10% extra damage to targets with an active crowd control. Stats effects, slow, root, stun. So we have slows, we have roots, and we have stuns. We have root from the traps, slow from shield bash. Actually, slow from... what is it? Shield rush and shield bash. So we have a slow, we have a stun, and we have a root through the trap. So we're benefiting from all of that. And then obviously going to the sharpshooter, critical reload is pretty important. Landing 3 headshots with 5 seconds of each other grants an instant reload. Shooter stance, players enter a shooting aim stance to enhance shooting performance. Shots deal 100% weapon damage, while in the stance mobility is reduced to 0, and reload time, which is the important part, is reduced by 75%. Mode will exit after 3 shots. And then powder burn, this is just basically a overcharge on your gun, but with dot damage after the fact, causing the next shot to deal 100% weapon damage, and causes a burn stats effect that deals 20% weapon damage per second for 9 seconds. Does not stack or combine with other overload shots. And then with backdraft, standard musket shots deal 12% additional damage while the target is on fire. So basically with shooter stance, you're going to be activating that. So the combination is you open up with where is it at? With the powder burn. Open up with that, they charge towards you. Swap your sword and steel when they get close. Shield bash, weapon swap, trap on the ground, move back like 3 feet. Shooter stance, they're rooted, you just start unloading in their face. And then if they get up after the fact, you can swap back to Sword and Shield. You have Defiant Stance on R, and then Shield Rush on F to slow them, to gain more distance. And yeah, here I'll just hit a normal mob just to kind of show you the rotation. So I'm already have my overcharged shot. Shoot them. Come towards me. Block their attack. Bash them. Swap. Trap. Stand in front of their face. Bang bang. They're dead. And that's pretty much it. Like, this is the only way that I have actually found that traps are viable, is literally throwing it at their feet after a stun. As I said, you could go with Rapier with Riposte, but it feels like it's just extra steps. Although Rapier is pretty nice just because you get a shit ton of mobility via Evade and Flashe. So whatever suits your fancy. But this does work, and I can show you some duels after this as well. Double trap. There. Tons of bonus damage. He's dead. Like, I didn't even get to the third shot because he's dead already. Like, it just does so much damage. When it comes to the gear, I'm rocking all light gear, and then with the shield, just because the evade in light just covers so much distance that I think it's just way superior to what I'm trying to run in here. Like, I need the ability to kite, and I need all the mobility I can get, especially since Sword and Shield does not have much. So you definitely need to be light for something like this. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, in terms of Defiant Stance, another cool little trick. I'll mouse over that real quick since I don't think I went over Sword and Board. So in Sword and Shield, you're rocking most of your points will be in Defender. I actually thought about getting Leaping Strike instead of Shield Rush, but just comparing the two, it's almost like a no-brainer. Leaping Strike is 25-second cooldown. Leap 4 meters, 135 damage. 135% weapon damage. Shield Rush, 20-second cooldown, 5 meters instead of 4, and it's 125 weapon damage. So 5-second less CD, an extra meter, and you're only losing 10% weapon damage, in which you can get a 4-second slow for 30% slowed for 4 seconds, as opposed to Cowardly Punishment on Leaping Strike requires an extra step of actually hitting them in the back. So you're not even always going to get the slow on this ability. As with Shield Rush, it's a lot more guaranteed. You get the hit, you get the slow, if you put points into it. So that's what I plan to do. And then obviously Shield Bash, Sturdy Grip, stamina damage reduced by 50% when blocking a melee attack with a shield. Defensive Training, when you block an attack, you gain 45 for 5 seconds. High Grip, stamina damage is reduced by 15 when blocking a ranged attack. And then Defiant Stance, as I was saying earlier, for 8 seconds, reduce the incoming damage from attackers by 30%. And then Final Countdown, if health is above 50%, damage reduction is increased by 20%. So 50% damage reduction from Defiant Stance if you pop it early, below if you do it above the 50% health threshold. And Restoration, gain 15% of your max health when Defiant Stand ends. So when it comes to Defiant Stance, you can actually cheese it. So say for example I wanted to hit this guy. I'm just going to let him pad on me for a bit before I pop Defiant Stance. Alright, I'll just pop it now. So say for example, if you're, you can actually trigger Defiant Stance, you can force it. One is by swapping weapons, the other is by sheathing your weapon. Pop Defiant Stance, like, oh, I need the health right now. Sheath it, you get the health back. So, just a nice little tidbit. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will end this with a couple duels. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and share with your friends. And I'm Countless BringYourFriends. Adios. You guys have a good one. Then I'll just apologize. Oh!
shit. I didn't mean to eat. I'm sorry.
That's alright.